Hi, I'm Terrell Turner, and you are tuned into Stock Talk. So let's just jump right into it. As we said, this week's stock of the week was going to be FuelCell. So let's jump into FuelCell and let's really dive into it. Now, when we do these stock reviews, again, we're doing the homework on it, doing a little bit of research. Now, before you invest in these companies, you should do your own research. But you can use this as a little bit of context, a little bit of background. So let's jump into it and do some little digging. All right, first we like to start with the product. Now, let me make this a little bit bigger so you guys can see it in full scale. When you look at FuelCell, there looks like there's a lot going on. And I pulled this from their latest earnings call because they just released what their update and their earnings were. But if you're looking at this, what we're paying attention to is probably this area right here. When you look at what are the types of products that they have, and overall, FuelCell is in the energy business. I mean, they're creating, I guess you say, generating clean energy and clean power. So if you think about, power plants, or we think about, distribution, because many companies are, they're burning fossil fuels or they're burning coal, which is a low cost way of doing energy. But what FuelCell does is they're using a technology called fuel cell technology, and they are actually creating clean energy. Now, that's a very big deal because there is a lot of attention around clean energy. And as you look at what they're doing it in different ways. One is they also have service contracts and they have license agreements with other companies. In their advanced technology is where they're actually starting to break away from or I guess you say they're actually diversifying, and they're actually using a different approach of carbon capture. And what carbon capture is that, everybody's trying to address the emissions issue, the air quality, air pollution, global warming. Everybody's trying to address that issue. Well, what carbon capture does, allows a company to be able to grab and recapture some of that excess carbon that's being released into the atmosphere. So it's actually helping, make the process even cleaner. So that is an area that they're moving into. Now, it's a newer area to their, their portfolio. They haven't always been in it, but it is a newer area to them. It's something to think about there. And then you have generation. So all of this comes down to one thing, that when you're looking at it, whether you're an investor in this company or not, I mean, yes, it's great that they have over $70.9 million in revenue. But the question you want to ask yourself is this a product that is solving a problem that a lot of people have? Is this a problem that has potential to grow? I mean, is this a product that more people are going to want? Now, when you're looking at what is going on in the, from the political sphere, as well as what is going on in the social sphere, I would definitely say that this product is a big problem, and it has a lot of potential to grow because there are so many places that are looking for clean energy. And to be completely honest with you, with the results of the US election, there's probably even heightened interest in clean technology. So for the product level, I'm going to say we give it an A because there's a lot of potential here. Now, moving on into the financials. Now, when you dig into the financials, one of the things that we're trying to understand is, how do the financials look, and is the company positioned well to be able to realize some of the growth of their product's potential? Because you can have a great product, but if you don't have your finances in order, then it's not really going to do that great because you won't have the money to invest in this potential. So when we look at FuelCell as a company, one of the things that we like to see is, we like to see growth in revenue. Now, one of the things that's concerning me a little bit is the drop in revenue that we saw in their Q4. Now, what we'd have to look at to see over a longer period of time and see, is that typical? Is that common of them to drop in the fourth quarter? Because it could be a kind of just a normal cycle. But just from looking at the last 4 quarters, that's something that I would say, if you're thinking about this company, look into that to see, is the company on a downward trend or an upward trend? Because you want to understand that, because what the revenue will tell you is, are people actually buying what they have to sell? And if people aren't buying it, then you got a problem. Now, another thing that concerns me a little bit is the gross margin. As you can see, back in Q1, they were seeing profits. Now, in Q3, Q4, they're showing losses. Now, I do know after doing some research, it's because they were paying off some of the changes that they've been doing in their facilities. And I know that they've been trying to implement more of the advanced technology. So it may just be temporary cost that's being paid and covered now, because they're investing in the future of where the company's going and the products. But that's something to keep an eye on. Now, the big thing when it comes down to a company like this is you want to look at cash and cash flow, because to be successful in this industry, you have to invest, and you want to make sure, does the company have enough cash to invest in where they're going? Now, total cash wise, they're sitting on about 149 million, which tells me that they just got a ton of cash. And I believe it was from some common stock transactions that they had going on. So they have enough cash to really fund the business of where they're going. Now, on the cash flow side, it tells me that, hey, they're paying out a lot of money when it comes down to the operating cash flow. So you would want to see that, hey, if the business can fund itself, that's where your cash flow, your operating cash flow turns positive. Now, because they're in a big investment industry and you're going to have to invest big to win in this one, I would say I feel comfortable that they have enough cash to move to, or I guess you say to continue funding to the next level, or the funding the growth. So that's good. But I am concerned about the cost and the gross margin and the profit level. So when it comes down to the financials, I give this one a B+. There's potential for it to grow and to get better, but we just got to see that materialize. Now, to the area that you're probably you care about the most is really, can you make money, or how will you make money on this stock? Now, when it comes down to FuelCell has been climbing since October now, or I guess you say kind of that November, October timeframe. Now, a lot of that probably has to do with the US election. Plus, it probably has to do with some of the other competitors in their industry, like Plug Power. Plug Power has been making some announcements about how they're going to exceed some of their previously set targets, which tells me that, hey, there is potential for this industry to grow as a whole. But the question you want to know is, how is FuelCell positioned to grow within the industry? Now, based on some of the changes that they're making with moving into advanced technology. Now, if you don't know much about fuel cells, fuel cells, there's multiple categories. I think there's like 5 different types of fuel cell technology, and they're used for different things. Some are used for utilities, some are used for like military equipment and different grades. Now, the fuel cell company actually plays in the utility sector. Now, because there are so many, politicians and so many individuals that are really pushing for clean energy, there's a lot of attention on what FuelCell is doing. And because the industry is hot right now, and there is great potential about what the political policies that could come out of the Biden administration could be, I would say that FuelCell definitely has room for growth. I think that it hasn't hit its peak. I do think that there will be some room for FuelCell to grow. Now, we'll have to keep an eye on some of their major announcements and the things that they have going on, but I think there is some possibility for growth there. So when it comes down to growth, I'm going to give FuelCell an A-. Because I do think there are some things that they need to figure out with their technology, but I think that there's enough there to see some growth that is actually worth paying attention to. So when we think about the full score, I would say we gave them an A when it came to their product. They're solving a serious problem. We gave them a B+ when it came down to their finances. And we gave them an A- on the stock potential, which rounds their total score off to an A-. So if you're looking at FuelCell, I think that it is one that you should consider for your portfolio. And I also think you should definitely do your own homework. Again, you want to make sure that this fits into your unique strategy. And if it does fit into your strategy, it may be worth to check it out. So thanks for tuning in to this week's Stock of the Week. on Stock Talks. Join the Facebook community to see all the great content that we're posting every single week.